7 and we'll start the meeting. Our first agenda item is to elect a chairman and vice chairman, because we have had, as you all know, resignations of 2 councillors, which obviously is disappointment to us. We've accepted the resignations and we of course thank them for the work that they've all done, both done for the Parish Council. I think at the moment we thought, or maybe the thought is that I stay as acting chairman while we discuss matters and decide things going forward. So are we all happy to do that for the time being?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So we've got apologies for absence. We have Toby, I think. And
Yes,
that's all.
Toby. Yeah.
Okay. Have any councillors got any personal or prejudicial interest in the items on the agenda?
No.
Okay. And then can we look then to the minutes of the Parish Council meeting held in August? Anyone got any comments on those?
No, not at all. Acceptable.
Approved? Anyone
Approved.
proposing? Second? The next item on the agenda, of course, is the public participation. Is anybody here who has anything they want to ask? Or anything they want to raise?
What happened to them then?
To who?
Is that a general question, Bob?
Well, specifically, I would like to know why 2 members of the committee left.
They resigned and they didn't say anything in their resignation letters.
Okay.
You can't
Fair enough.
I think the only thing to do is talk to both of them yourself, but they didn't give us any reasons.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to say I attended a meeting today, ABDC, which you're all here about, no doubt. And my faith in democracy has gone down the pan completely after what happened.
Yeah.
It's a shocking
And
decision.
I must applaud those who spoke
Agreed.
on behalf of the councils
Agreed.
for what they said.
Absolutely
They were
right.
superb.
No, it
It
is.
was all a waste of time.
I agree. It was not a decision that is good for this village.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Absolutely right.
Carol?
Could I say that I would welcome any letters of complaint about today's meetings. If they could be sent to me, please. I will then pass them on and we'll see what we can do about that committee.
Thank you
Maybe a
very
bit,
much.
maybe too late for the 2 that went through today, but we have some other big applications.
They've got a lot coming through. So, yeah,
Thanks,
absolutely.
Carol.
Thank you very much, Carol. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Can I ask, is this the time to raise planning matters, if you wish to?
You can ask questions. And
Yes, I'm relating to a planning application on Ed's land. Just been looking through the documentation, and under the agenda, community engagement. Okay, it seems a misnomer to me because I can't see any advertisement on the land. There's no planning notice there at the moment. But really, the application to one side, I'm just wondering, can somebody explain to me what the involvement of the ACPC working party was and who exactly was on that?
we had an informal meeting of the Parish Council. And that was just a meeting. No decision has been made on this particular application. We haven't had a full meeting of the planning committee to discuss it. At that meeting, I think, was Colin, Peter,
Toby,
and Toby.
and Jill.
We were because notes were taken of that meeting. The people that we must mention are members of the planning committee. I'm also a member of the planning committee, but I was unable to make that particular meeting.
Why? You're obviously going to discuss it this meeting today?
No, it's not a planning committee meeting, it's a general meeting of the Parish Council. So a planning meeting, I think we'll be holding it. We have to give 3 days notice of the agenda, and we will be holding it probably next week.
Next week. Yeah.
Colin is chairman of the planning committee, I'm the vice chair.
Okay, thank you.
Hiya.
Hi there. Just a matter of interest, when you elect a new chairperson, will we be reintroducing the badge of office? I've noticed that's been cast aside as a mere bauble. It is a mark of respect, it's a mark of authority, and should be worn with pride, as it has done for over 75 years as the chairman of this parish council. I'd like to see it reinstated.
I think that
Is that a possibility?
I think it depends on individual chairman. I certainly wouldn't want to wear
You will?
Not for a general meeting, but it's up for each individual chairman to decide, I think. I mean, the past chairman also decided not to wear it, so.
Can I just say that he did wear it to 2 official functions?
Yes, the
that he had
functions
to
is
go
probably
to.
one thing, but a council meeting, it's not something
Really?
I would like to see. But that's an individual thing, and we'll take note of what you said, John, and
I think the public like to see that, okay, the chairman sits there, but it is a mark of who that person is.
okay.
Any other comments, John? Are there any other points or questions? Okay. Okay, so we move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the report.
Right, the summer months have seen the park full of children, families, picnic blankets and dogs. Special thanks must go out to our caretaker, Eamon, who has had to do the bins on the toilet every day, and he continues to open and lock the barrier every day, and that's on a voluntary basis. So I think we'd all like to really thank Eamon for doing that.
Yeah.
Play around the parishes was a huge success this year, with massive numbers of children enjoying the bouncy castle, craft activities, soft play and face painting. Only one day was rainy, so everyone went into the pavilion and carried on playing. And I think we would also like to thank Leslie and Chris Ronson for their help with the overspill parking on those really busy days.
Absolutely.
Now that the damp season is upon us, we know we have to brace ourselves for an increase in dog mess. The children who are exposed to dog mess are at risk of contracting an infection called toxicara, which can lead to blindness. It's disgusting for other park users, and it's a huge problem for our footballers. We're currently waiting to hear if our funding application has been successful for CCTV, but when that is installed, I think we need to really go after some of these culprits and find out who they are. I don't have much else to say. We're pleased to welcome 2 new councillors on board later on this evening, but we now have 2 casual vacancies, so we're looking to recruit councillors again. I think it's important to say that you don't need to have a master's degree, or, you know, it's just we want people who are willing to roll up their sleeves, who have got a little bit of time to devote to it. I wanted to conclude by reading out a letter that I received 2 days ago. So I'm now quoting: "I want to express my thanks to the Parish Council for sorting out a number of issues that have been outstanding for some time. The footballers are under control and are enjoying their football, the all-weather pitch is now managed properly, and the antisocial behaviour has stopped. The park is trim and looks well managed, and we've had flocks of people enjoying the park. There's now an appropriate facility offering refreshments, and I just hope they can carry on. The stream has been fixed. I have just visited with a neighbour and it's flowing well. The potholes in the car park and the main entrance to the park have been repaired. In such a short time, so much has been done. The new focus is very welcome, and long may it continue." So we like getting letters like that. That's it from me.
Thank you very much. We move now to the next agenda item, which is finance and staff.
Month end report and the budget status, if you've all had a copy round to have a look, was within track that we expected at the moment. Moving on to having a look at things that need to be paid, and have a look on the other side of the outstanding. Are there any questions or anything with that one?
Just what's the new car park lighting to in line with British Gas? Can you just what's that?
The new car, well, they're still calling it the new car park. It's that car park there, the one that was originally intended for use by the bowls club, the tennis club.
The tarmac car park.
The tarmac car park. It's that bill that we get for that parking, for that lighting. Sorry. Well, yeah, it's gas, yeah. The Eon is the village lighting.
Oh, right. I don't know.
But included in that is this building
Right, okay.
included in that.
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Susie, can I just raise one point to, looking on the payments to be agreed, there should be, it's obviously, it's obviously got missed, there's a 200 to go out to JM Planning. Obviously, that's for the NH, for the neighbourhood plan.
Is that Jennifer Lampert?
Yes.
I've not had an invoice.
No, I think it's come via me, and I thought she'd copied it to you, so obviously she didn't, so I'll have to forward that one on to you. So that's 200, I think, so that probably needs to go on to the payments to be agreed.
Okay.
Okay.
So if I link that with the motion, are we happy to agree that the clerk can pay these outstanding invoices we've got
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Does someone propose that motion? Second it? Vote on it?
And the other one on the agenda was about the precept. We started to discuss it slightly, I know at other committees, but it was just to highlight it now when we've got our individual committee meetings going on. Could we please start thinking about our precept and thinking about setting, previous council was having a deadline of the beginning of December to know where we are, to present that, as then we can then review it and then bring it back to a full council to decide. So if we can, each chair take that one on for their separate committees, please.
Okay.
And then the other one was we had some information through from the council saying that they'd been looking at yearly, they have a look at the payment of expenses and they review it each year. So as we've got that information come through, and hopefully by the end of this evening we will have a full finance committee again, I'd like to propose to write a scheme to reimburse expenses to members in line with the ABDC's independent remuneration panel, review of members' allowances for town and parish councils, and in accordance with the local authorities from the regulations of 2003. And then bring that back, once we've written it, to the full council in the next meeting.
Okay.
There's a motion for that, isn't there? So who wants to propose
If
that
I
motion?
Susie.
We're just changing that side to
To
write a
write a
scheme
scheme.
rather than to approve a scheme because we haven't written it yet. We just ran out of time.
Okay.
Okay.
But we'll, Susie and I will work on that.
Yeah, so I'll give you a draft in there as well. So.
Yeah. It's a bit hectic.
So the motion is amended to say to write a scheme. So can we propose for that motion? Alan, seconder. Okay. Show of hand approval.
And then our final one with the finance was the staffing subcommittee, and would be interviewing for the new assistant, if you wanted to feedback on that one.
Yes, the members have all had an evaluation of the interviews and the outcome of those circulated to you. I hope you've all had a chance to look at that. We interviewed 4 people and there was a front runner who we would like to appoint. So if you're all happy with the evaluation that you've seen and our recommendation, we need to vote on that and then we can get that person in place.
Anyone got any questions or comments on
No.
the evaluation?
That's fine.
Okay, so can we propose for that motion, please? Colin, seconder. And vote, please. Do we know when the person will start?
Hopefully on Monday.
Excellent.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, is there anything else at all for finance and staff, Susan?
No, that's it.
Planning, Colin?
No, wow.
Bit of a dismal start.
Bit of a dismal start. I'll start with the easy one, shall I? Some of the applications come through, some of the minor ones, which we seem to have more influence on than the others. There's one at 15 Milton Road, which is 1502356. That's it was an extension to the side and dormers front and rear. I think most of us had a good look at that one, and we felt that it was going to completely unbalance the house, semi-detached bungalow. complete amount and look into the neighbourhood's garden as well for the adjoining property. So an objection was filed for that on behalf of the Parish Council. It hasn't been decided yet, so this is just what we do. The next small one that we actually made any comment on was 1502533, which was the solar farm at Gibb Lane near Bearton. We raised no objection to that. There are some more other ones outstanding, but they're not due until sort of middle of September, so there hasn't been decided on. They will be decided upon with the next planning meeting, which will be next week. These include 02607, which is 1228 Western Road, 02569, 108 Western Road at Longhorn Farm, which is a big development of about 70 houses, 02680, Park Farm Church Lane, which is a couple of agricultural buildings to go up near the cricket pitch there. And of course 02655, which is the 4 dwellings at Rectory Farm. All those are going to be discussed and decided upon at the next planning committee meeting, and so next month I'll report back as to whether we object, support or we're neutral on those. Today, another small one, Putnam's Drive. 1 Putnam Drive I think it is. This guy here has acquired some land to his front garden. And I've been in contact with Bucks County Council about this, and they have come back to me with their plan of the land, and it's not their land. So it seems it's either parish land or common land. I'm not sure which it is. I don't know. My next point of call is going to be the land registry to see if they know who it is. And then from there we will decide what we have to do with the advice of a solicitor about that, so how we have to proceed. That's ongoing. There's also ongoing with the TPOs at 16 Green End Street. I've been chasing that, still hasn't come back as yet. But I'm sort of keep pestering where eventually I shall get something, I hope. Right, now today went along, as the guy said, and we spoke against the 30 dwellings in Stratford Close, 03662. Although that was, didn't support that, initially we probably would have done, I feel, but with all the other approvals that were going through, we decided that we would certainly object to it on the grounds of the transport and the schooling and everything else. But unfortunately, that was approved at the Strategic Committee of AVDC today. And following along for that, we then looked at the 1500300, which is the 95 dwellings along from Chapel Drive at the back of Green End Street. And there were some speeches made by lots of people. Peter made one, and the gentleman made one from the village, and some good speeches from both Carol and Bill, all against this. But unfortunately, the committee seemed to be dogged in their adherence to this paragraph 14 of the NPPF, which is presumption in favour of planning unless you've got something outstanding. We all quoted about the inspector's report on the field previous, which is now being done, the 47, completely and utterly ignored about that. Unfortunately the vote was 5-3, and it was very, very depressing, and as you quite rightly say, democracy didn't seem to come anywhere into that whatsoever. So that was very depressing indeed. Tends to make you want to sort of give up a little bit, but you have to plod on. And the neighbourhood plan, I know it's late, I know everyone's going to say it's late, but that's not the fault of the councillor that you've got now. We are trying to do this, and we must carry on with this. Even though these houses have been approved, we can still help with the infrastructure, the community centre, whatever you want and everybody else in the village wants. We've got those houses, but we need to accommodate the people, we need to provide them with facilities, amenities, access, everything you can think of. And we have the launch this Friday and Saturday at the Anthony Hall, and I ask you all to come along, and anyone you know to come along to this, and I don't care what your views are, and the developers will be there as well. They can all put your views down, and once we've got your views, then we can start to formulate something. But without your views, we are not allowed to suggest what to do. You have to come along to us and tell us what you want for this village. So it's incumbent on all of you to do that. And I can only make apologies for houses that have gone that you don't wish at the moment. But that is your best plan, your best help you can do to this village is to come along to that. That's pretty much all I can say, really.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Then we go to the next item, which is the Facilities Committee.
Sports and Recreation, the Facilities Committee meeting last week, the S106 priorities list was reviewed, and it was agreed that the number one priority would be the community centre. Additionally, smaller projects would continue to be progressed, and these were agreed to be the multi-use games area, an enhancement to the skate park, and the provision of a custom picnic area. The monies from the Stablebridge Road development will be used to fund these. Play Park, it was agreed that there is a need to replenish the play park to an appropriate level. And it was also noted in the longer term that there will be a need to replace the safety surfaces around the tall slide, the witch's hat and the Puss in Boots. In respect of grounds maintenance, the work on the culvert project is now complete. We weren't able to accommodate the provision of a second beach at this stage, but this will be reviewed again in the future. There have been reoccurrences of pollution of the brook with clay spoil from Stablebridge Road owing to the recent heavy rain. These have been reported to the Environment Agency. In respect of the community centre, the design phase of this project is now frozen to enable costings to be established by our quantity surveyor ahead of our application for the New Homes bonus monies as part of the funding. The QS will have their work to us by the 21st of September. On other matters, Bucks County Council Devolution Project Phase 2 is now being consulted upon. This will be about transport. At this stage we don't know how this will affect the village. We will be meeting with Bucks County Council in mid-September to find out more about this and report back to the next meeting.
And there was a motion in the middle of this to agree the site and proposed football dugouts.
Yep, it was.
Peter?
Yeah, we had a meeting with the football club earlier on, and as you said, the motion now is to discuss the siting of the proposed football dugouts. I think we've all had a look, we've all had a good talk about it, so I think it's just a simple case, and just to make it known that they will be doing something for us as well, moving one of the benches for us, cross over to the skate park. So the motion now is, if I can put it forward, is to discuss and agree the siting of these dugouts, please.
Proposer?
Okay, one of us.
Split it between you.
Split it between us.
Can we have a vote on that, please?
Can I just add, sorry, the actual siting of the dugouts will be subject to Monday morning when we're going to meet with Mike. He's going to peg out the actual area. I don't really see a problem. There won't be a problem with that, so, but that's to do with that one.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Any else from that committee, Facilities Committee?
No, that's
Okay. So we come to the next agenda item, which is the co-option of 2 new members, both of whom are here. You may wish to stand up at this particular point.
And bring your own chairs. More chairs.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, so we've got here Michael Vaughan and Paul Hughes, both of whom put themselves forward to become members of the Parish Council. The Parish Council met them last week, interviewed them, and decided they weren't suitable. So we welcome them both very much and thank them for agreeing to join the Parish Council, because obviously we were operating with a number of 9, we need to have 11, and we're now operating with 7, so we're back up to 9 again. And as Gillo said earlier on, that we will need to be looking for 2 more members in due course. So we welcome you both. Thank you very much again. And you've got various forms that you need to complete and give to Jill. Have you done them?
So bits and pieces here?
Yes, final life away. Parish Council.
Is that everything completed?
Lovely.
Excellent. And the next question, I'll ask you this, and we'll lock in until you agree. Which committees would you both like to become members of? We have obviously, you've seen the committees that we have.
I'll happily join the Finance Committee to support Susie.
You're an absolute star. That's the one I'm struggling.
That was the right answer.
If you hadn't said that, I'd have had to ask you to reconsider. Not a good start in many committee member, only a matter of minutes.
Working for the bank, I ought to have some ideas. So
Perfect. So thank you very much for that. I mean, you can obviously add committees as you.
Any others, Mike?
Yeah,
You're sticking
I was thinking facilities as well.
Oh, lovely.
Excellent.
Ditto, I guess. I think if Mike goes on finance, you're still a bit short, potentially, no?
Well, yes, we're not core at the moment, so you're not enough members, so
And
you're
then
right.
if one
So,
wasn't here at
Yeah,
any
so
time,
back
we
down
wouldn't then
again.
be quorate. So
Yeah.
and I
yes,
guess
please.
that would make the chances of not being core less likely.
I'm thrilled to be on finance
Anything else that you would like to join?
and facilities.
Okay, as well. That means the whole commission's not just.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
Volunteers for planning then?
No, it speaks us forward as usual.
That's inspiration one day.
It's funny that, isn't
Community centre subcommittee.
Yes, I mean, it's
Do you
an
want to
interest.
subdivide
Yes,
it
I'll
this
happily
way?
join.
The community, we haven't got we've only got you, me, Toby.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm a bit short on that one as well.
Is that for the,
The community.
Specifically for
I have a,
There's quite a lot of work to do on that moment, so we've got to get on. We've got to get
I have a
funding.
person who would be interested in being co-opted onto that.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
It's Phil Williams, who's the husband of a previous councillor. He's expressed an interest to go onto that subcommittee. He used to run a business. He lives just on the Buckham Wharf Road, so he's strictly speaking in Buckham, but that doesn't matter. He has an interest in the village, and he'd quite like to go onto that subcommittee if the members would like to have it.
I've got no objection to that. I mean, we need the next couple of weeks, particularly when it's a month, is critical to fill the forms in.
Okay,
And we actually do need to set
communicate.
up, we need to set up a working group to complete the
Okay.
forms.
Yeah, well,
Sort that out.
Yeah, we need to sort out the working group to sort out the forms when Toby comes back from leave.
Yes, that's
We
right.
need to
Okay, I'll
sort
tell
that
him
out.
then. He spoke to me today.
California.
Yeah, he's done, he's done. I agree with the meeting, remember to come back and sit down and finish it, so we obviously got a deadline 30th September, which you cannot afford to miss.
Okay.
So thank you for all the right answers. You've started off well.
I don't know if you want to open it.
No, I won't do that. And though we haven't got this as an agenda item, we started doing this when this parish council started. This is really, has anybody got any points, questions, comments on tonight's proceedings that you'd like to raise now? Carol?
I'll just pick up from what Colin was saying about the neighbourhood plan, and I know you may all be feeling a bit down that, we're just getting hit with all this housing. But please go on with your neighbourhood plan, because within the neighbourhood plan you can have policies as to how you would like to see that housing develop. For instance, you could have a policy in there that would look towards providing smaller, low-cost market housing, which I know there's a problem with now, that all the smaller houses seem to be taken up by, the affordable housing, for the social housing, and only the 4 and 5 bedrooms are there for local people to purchase if they wish. Therefore, you could have a policy in your neighbourhood plan to say that there must be a certain percentage of low-cost market housing in there, and other things that you would like to put in there as to how you would like to see the developments take place, even though at the moment, we can't do anything about the number on those. So please do go along Friday evening, I think it is, and Saturday. And as Colin said, we do need your input because it's your views that count. The examiner will be looking at seeing, has this come from the community rather than from the parish council? So your input is vital.
The neighbourhood plan meeting is 6 till 10 on Friday night and 10 till 1 on Saturday morning at the Aston Hall. Any other points or questions?
Hi, just to Mike and Paul, thanks for joining. I know you've been through the process, but when this council first started afresh, you kind of heard a bit about them and their background, children in the village, how long you've been here, why you've joined, what you're going to add to value. Just, I'm not interviewing you, but I don't know who you are. So if you wouldn't mind 30 seconds or just
with
enlighten
pleasure.
me.
Yeah, with pleasure. Some of you may know my family in the village. So my name is Mike Osborne, born and bred in the village, nearly 40 years ago now. I've come full circle and returned to the last couple of years, but the best part of 30 years I've lived in the village. Went to the village school. Mum and Dad were heavily involved in the Scout movement here and initiated the club in Aston Clinton and Dad with the Scouts. Been involved with the sports group with both football teams, Aston Park and Aston Clinton. I have two children, one who was 2 on Saturday and one who is starting at the village school on tomorrow morning. Yes, thank you for reminding me. Maybe she's still asleep when I get back, but we'll see. She's excited or scared, one or the other. But my principal reason for wanting to get involved in the council is that this is the village that I was born and bred in. I have moved out of the village and circulated through careers with military and also with financial services, but it's great to come full circle and come back to the village that I was born and bred in, and I do feel I've got a real affinity with this place. I want to see that this is a community that is a genuine community. I mean, it's a spread. We've got a massive change in demographics throughout the village. The village is expanding, and there's not a great deal we can do to stop that. And I'm not suggesting we do. I think it's a great opportunity. But the more people and the more voices and the wider focus that we can get, the better representation that we can get here on the council, which is to act on behalf of the community, and that's what I want to be a part of. So.
Brilliant, thanks.
Paul.
Hello, Paul Hughes. Lived in Aston Clinton 4 years. Lived here with my wife, stepdaughter Jessica, who's just finished at Aston Clinton for the last 4 years. I've got 3 grown-up kids in their 20s. I was a district councillor for 12 years for Fairford Leys, which is Cold Harbour Ward. I was the founding chairman of the Parish Council when it started on Fairford Leys in 2001. So I was chairman there for 5 years, and I finished on the council in May. And because I no longer live in that parish, I couldn't stay on that parish council. So it made sense to me to try and get involved where I live. I knew of the problems that have been going on in the past with the previous council. So I feel I've got something to offer this village. I live here. I feel passionate about the village. This is my life now. So yeah, I can't leave it alone. I want to get involved. So that's what I want to do. That's why I'm here.
Cool, thanks. Sorry, I was just nosing. I'm sure everyone else wanted to ask. Thank you, both.
Any other comments or questions?
Chairman, I would just like to remind all the councillors that we've got a briefing session. It is tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Colin. I forgot the time, but I'm
7:30.
sure
7:30.
7:30.
Yes.
And we very badly need as many councillors as possible to be present during the consultation, the public consultation, and you should ideally come to the briefing meeting so that we can agree a policy on how we interact with the public.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So that's just a reminder.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex.
I did let you two gentlemen know about that, didn't I?
Yes.
Any other points or questions?
If I may briefly refer back to the mention of land at Putnam Drive. For God's sake, if this council gets another land dispute, I think I'll cut my own throat. That's what I mentioned.
That's probably a very wise point, Keith.
But we'd rather you didn't do that, please. And if you do, come in here.
Okay. I'll proceed with caution then. Is that the
That would be my
advice?
suggestion.
Okay.
We will, Keith, we will.
Yeah, we will.
Absolutely. Any other points, questions? Okay, thank you very much. So move to the next item, but any items for the next meeting?
Not at the moment, no.
Standard business, and the date of the next meeting is?
October the 7th.
That wasn't a short meeting. What happened? Why so short?